Episode number 107. What does this button do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with us, Geeks on Tour. We do? Yeah. Hi. We are old dogs learning new tricks, and we hope to help you learn too. Hi, everyone. I'm Jim, and here together with my wife, Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach. And we think the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So that's why we came up with this weekly show. We try to teach something different each week. And we are learning all the time.
Yeah, one of these days, we might figure some of this stuff out. Okay. At our website, geeksontour.com, you can find several hundred tutorial videos on all the topics that we teach. It's cool stuff.
You can also ask us questions in the forum, or you can get our Mrs. Geek's Guide to Google Photos book.
What's my armrest? What are you doing here? Okay, where are we now, Chris?
We are at home at Fort Lauderdale, and you're lucky I was able to keep him home today. He's been out on the ocean scuba diving for the last 3 days.
It's been wonderful.
And I love to scuba dive too, but I like the water to be 80 degrees or more.
She's a little more picky than I am, but I have a good friend comes down from New Jersey every year and visits, and I've been diving with him for over 40 years now.
Longer than me.
I started when I was 3 or 4. It's pretty cool.
So it's been gorgeous here.
Glorious. It has been nice. Okay, on today's show, we have a grab bag, and I think we're going to do this more often too. So we have some.
There's always so many tips, and they don't necessarily go together in what we normally call a beginner's lesson. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to stick our hand in the bag and pull out some tips and tricks today.
So our opening tip is going to be viewing past shows. Our beginner's lesson is a grab bag of tips. Our closing up, we're going to be talking about Google Home. This is a new app that's on the Android and the Apples. And if you have any questions during the live show here, the YouTube chat window is open, and I can see a few people in there. Hello, Bill. Sue Campbell from Ottawa. Wow, Robin Seaver. I woke up her Google Home when I turned out. That's the thing that, yeah, that's pretty funny, because when you say, okay, Google, all kinds of stuff pops up.
Starts answering.
Yeah.
Especially when we're teaching a live audience and there's dozens or hundreds of people we hear.
All right. By Wednesday afternoon, we'll have this show up on our website at thebuttonshow.com. You can leave comments there too. We do invite you to become a member. There are a lot of good benefits. Just go to geeksontour.com and click on the button that says Become a Member. All right, Chris, you got a quick tip?
So a quick tip is a general thing about viewing past shows. Now, you know that all of our content is collected on our website at geeksontour.com. But since we've been going over 2 years with this weekly What Does This Button Do show, we have a completely separate website, and it is thebuttonshow.com. So I just want to make sure you all know about that and the different things that are there. So all you have to do is go to a web browser and type thebuttonshow.com. And it takes you to this special website that is devoted to the Button Show. Every Wednesday, we post the latest show, but then we have some other things up here in the menu. We have, this is show 107. So some people want to learn and they're just getting started. So we made this page for beginners that has what we think are the best shows to watch for the beginners. And this archive with show notes, that takes you to our geeksontour.com website. This highlights is what I continue to update and have fun with. So if you want to peruse what the Button Show has to offer, you probably don't want to watch whole 45-minute shows. But here, so easy editing on Snapseed, editing photos on phone with Snapseed. If you click on that, it takes you straight to the place in one of our show, whatever show we did Snapseed, that takes you not only to that show, but to the exact point where we talked about and where we demonstrated the Snapseed. And I am making more and more and more of those. So it's up to item or highlight number 34 now, and I'm going to continue to add more. So peruse those highlights. I think you'll have fun. I do. I say, oh yeah, we covered that. Wasn't that good?
Yeah, weren't we good?
Wasn't that a good tip? All right, so that's my tip for the day, is to look at the highlights at thebuttonshow.com.
Cool. We do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave comments there. That's a lot of fun. It can't hurt. That's at youtube.com, 2 Geeks on Tour. I don't see any questions here yet, but a couple of people have said some fun things that we can talk about. Cool. So Bill says, congratulations on keeping your scales wet that long. Diving was one of his most memorable experiences. I love diving.
So do I. That's one of the things that got us together.
Right.
We both love scuba diving.
There is a brand new video that I put up, but it's on my personal.
Oh, we should put a link in the chat there.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a link in there.
Just put a link in the chat, yeah.
All right, you ready for this?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
Grab bag of smartphone tips. The first one is a general account and computer and smartphone tip, and that is having security for your Google account. Our Google account does a lot. I would not want anybody to be able to hack into it. Therefore, I put on two-step verification, and I think everybody should. So this is going to be a tip we will repeat as many times as we can.
It is so important to have your Google account very secure.
So let me explain and show you. First, I'm going to just go to the google.com website and show you where you turn it on. Then I'll show you how it works. So at google.com, and log in, and I see that I'm logged in because there's my little face up there.
She's cute.
If you click on your face and then my account, it's under sign in and security that you will find two-step verification. And it has to do with signing in to Google. Two-step verification right there. If yours is not on, this is where to turn it on. And what does it mean? To show you what it means, I'm going to go to an incognito window. That means in one click, I am at a browser window where I am not logged in. So you can see. So let's pretend that somebody got my real username and password. But I will show you, because of two-step verification, they will not be able to log into my account. So they would go to google.com and click sign in. Let's say they know my real username and they know my real password. This is my real password that's been typed in here. But when they click sign in, it's going to say a text message with a verification code.
Yeah, I just heard it. Let's see if I can get that.
Has been sent to your phone number.
All right.
So I can go to my phone and approve or get that number. All right. So 187180 is my Google verification code. And it, because of the way my phones are set up, it comes to both my iPhone and my Android, and it comes through in a text message. So you put a phone attached to your Google account that can receive text messages. So it was 187180. So now back to the computer, and that's what you put in here, 187180. And now I am logged in. But if a bad guy tried to get in, unless they also have my phone, they cannot do it. So that is two-step verification, and that is my first grab bag tip.
Cool. Very good.
Then I'm going to go to the iPhone and go through several tips here. Web page menu selections, emojis, Apple ID, take a picture with your volume button, save photo from text message, and we probably won't get to number 7, and we've done that before anyway. I'll be lucky to get through 6 in a timely manner.
All right.
So, tip 1 is web page menu selection. So what do I mean by that? A few minutes ago, we showed you on the computer how you can go to thebuttonshow.com and look at the highlights by clicking on the menu. What if you're browsing on your phone? How do you do that? I'm going to open up Chrome because that's the browser I use. And you can go to The Button Show. And here's how the menu shows up on a mobile device. It says Home. How do I see the other menu options? You know, on a computer, the menu options are spread across the screen. But on a phone, there's no room for that. If you tap, and this drove me nuts for the longest time on the iPhone because I kept tapping. I kept waiting for something to appear right there. I finally noticed that it appeared down here. So you tap for the menu and it appears at the bottom. Then you move to whichever menu you want. And now how do you say, okay, take me there? Well, you just say you're done choosing your menu, you tap X, now you're on the highlights. So if I want to go back to home, it's home. If I want to go to highlights, I found that kind of confusing, so thought I'd show you and hope that you're not too confused.
Yeah, it is.
Next, emoji keyboard. This is so cute. First of all, what is an emoji? It's a little picture that is meant to,
Go on.
is meant to give some interest to text messages. And this is the iPhone iMessage screen. And if I want to put in a smiley face or an emoji, I need actually a separate keyboard. I can't do it right here. The way you get the emoji keyboard is with the little globe button, long press on it, and then choose emoji. Now you have all these.
So it's just like another keyboard.
It is another keyboard. Yes,
Right.
That's the way it works on an iPhone. It is another keyboard. And then if you see something you want, you know, I love these googly eyes. You just tap on it and it goes into your message. And now you get back to text by tapping on the ABC here, and you can just say whatever you want and then send the message. Now, if any of you, like we do, use the swipe keyboard, this is the swipe keyboard. So geeks, I love the swipe keyboard. I use it all the time. I can't type without it because I don't like typing key by key. I like swiping.
Me too.
It's so much faster. But this next thing I'm going to show you won't work if you started out with the swipe keyboard. And that is, so I'm going to get back. So how do I get back? Now there is no globe, but there's the little icon for the swipe keyboard. So I long press and then go to next keyboard. This is the standard iOS, Apple keyboard. Now this is a fun thing. Let's say I type a message, are dogs allowed on the boat? Are dogs allowed on the boat? And I thought, oh, now I'm talking to somebody who English is not their first language. Might it be better if I had a little emoji, a little icon for dogs and an icon for boat? I know they exist, but it's going to take a while to hunt for them. Well, in iOS, I think it just came out with 10. So if you have an earlier version, this won't work. And if you start with a swipe keyboard, it won't work. But this is cool. When I now go to emoji, in orange are highlighted the words that have related emojis. So just tap on dogs, and I get a little emoji of a dog. Tap on boat, and I get 3 choices for a boat. And then I send that. Is that fun? Now, personally, I love emojis for smiley faces, but I just don't use a whole bunch of other ones. But look at all there are here. You can, there's more than meets the eye. Just keep scrolling over. Keep scrolling over. Keep scrolling over.
Keep going.
Back to emojis. Just keep scrolling over and keep scrolling over and keep scrolling. Now I accidentally tapped on one. That's fine. Keep scrolling over. Keep scrolling. Oh, and that grapes, yes. Keep scrolling over. And notice, though, you say, well, boy, that's going to be a lot of work to find the one I want if I have to scroll and scroll and scroll to find them. Well, if you've noticed, as I've been scrolling, these little icons down at the bottom here are the categories, and they've been highlighting as I scroll over. So if I say I want a dog, well, this third little button here is animals. And now I can find all sorts of animals and nature. And then this one is food and drink. This one is activity, etc., etc. That one is objects. So you can find what you want. And then on the iPhone, there's even more. This little arrow right here opens up a special spot where with the heart and the 2 fingers, you can do things like, it'll tell me here. I can do 2 fingers and it sends a kiss. And it just sends it. It creates a little kiss and sends it. Or you can draw whatever you want. That really seems like too much work to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's emojis. What's next? What's next is...
I think I'm going to restart your computer.
I think that's advisable. If perchance you go to your iPhone and you know you have iOS 10 and you do not get that emojis, you should check in your settings under General and Keyboard. And make sure that under keyboards, you can have all sorts of different keyboards. I have swipe and emoji and English. You could have different languages as well. There's all sorts of languages. You can add new keyboards, Chinese keyboard, Japanese keyboard, etc., etc. But emoji must be there. I think it is on by default, so no big deal, but check that it's there. Next tip. On an iPhone, you must have an Apple ID. So let's say I ask you what your Apple ID is, and you say, I don't know. I say, I can find out for you. Now, I can't find your password, but I can find your Apple ID in your settings under iTunes and App Store. There's your Apple ID. You need to know your username, and that's your username. You need to know your password.
That's
though.
your user ID.
That's
Apple ID.
That's the name, the username for your Apple ID. But notice also here it says Touch ID is enabled for all purchases. That is great. If you've ever gotten aggravated because it's always asking you for your password, you can set up Touch ID. And that's right here in Settings, Touch ID. Now you have to enter your passcode and then your Apple password once, but then you can register your fingerprint and several fingerprints. For example, Jim's fingerprint is registered on my iPhone.
That comes in handy. I'll tell you.
It does.
Hey.
I think it's on here.
I got it. You muted.
Okay. So settings and accounts. Now that Google is for lots of Google settings. This is your Google account, and I have 2 Google accounts associated with this phone. So that's it. You go into settings and accounts to find your Google account. It's still up to you to know your password. And there are ways to find out. I mean, if you go to your Google account on a computer and say, I forgot it, there are ways that you can be helped.
Okay.
Sure. With the Android phone, you can also use the volume button. But now one big problem is if you have the kind of case that's a wallet case, the cover is up around the volume button. So I have a hard time using that. But you can use the earbuds. Come out here. The earbuds can take a picture. So if you, for some reason, if you have this set up and you want to get farther away, you have that much space anyway. I can just, and it takes a picture.
Too bad you don't have a better subject.
There you go. There we go. And it's either the up or the down volume that works. But on the Android, on the Samsung phone anyway, I don't know how many others have it, there is a setting that lets you voice control. Now that's my favorite thing. Yeah. So I can go into selfie mode, and now I'm having to stretch my arm way away. It would be impossible to tap the shutter button, but I can say, shoot, and it takes the picture.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let me show, in case you have this phone and you haven't tried that, let me show you where the setting is.
That does not work on my Nexus 6.
So it probably is more of a Samsung camera thing.
But I know that there are some others that do. So
yeah, so if you have Android, hunt and see if you have this setting.
Right.
It is absolutely not allowed on iPhone. Apple doesn't allow it. So on this phone, Samsung Galaxy S5, I go into the camera and tap settings. And then there's lots of settings. I'm going to scroll down to where you see voice control. And it is on. Now, if it's off and you turn it back on, it tells you you can take pictures by saying any one of those 4 words. You can even record video. Okay. So that's that tip, a camera shooting.
Good one.
Tip. Control photo from text. Okay. So how do we save a photo from a text message on Android? Everything is very, very similar, but with little bits of differences. Now, on my Android phone, I use Hangouts for my text messages. So here, I know that I have a text message here from Jim's dive buddy yesterday, who took a picture of Jim holding his catch.
Hey, that was a nice one.
Yeah.
I caught 4 that day.
So how do I save that picture received in text to my phone? Step 1, make sure that the picture is the only thing on the screen. Tap on it. Now the whole screen is that picture. Now I need some options, so tap again, and the only option I see is the 3 dots. Tap there, and save is there. All right, so I brought up the picture, tap 3 dots, and save. Now let's prove that it's there. And I don't use Gallery, I use Google Photos.
Is this making anyone else hungry?
Lobster. And it's not there.
I know why.
This leads me to the next tip. So I might say, well, is it in Gallery? And yes, indeed it is. So it did work. There's something else going on with Google Photos. And that is, it's a picture that wasn't taken by this phone. So it's not in the camera roll. It's in a different folder. And in Google Photos, you have to tell it what other folders you want it to look in. So I tapped on the menu and device folders. And it's called download. So here there's a few pictures in here. There's the one with the lobster. Notice that the cloud has a slash through it. So that's saying this folder is not going to the Google Cloud storage. Just tap there. Now it is. And I go back out. And in a second, yeah, there we see the lobster picture.
That will be dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Back to us?
No, still have one more.
Okay.
I didn't do emojis. So emojis, I said I use Hangouts for text messages. So I go to Hangouts, and if I want to put in an emoji, I just tap on the little smiley right there. It's not a whole other keyboard. And the other thing that's different is you scroll down to see more in each category. So that's the first category, that's the second category, and there's more. Third category, and there's more. So an emoji is just a tiny little, and let's see, what if we, dinner? And question mark, and emoji, and find the food. Obviously, I don't use these very often. Here's the food. And
I don't see any lobsters in there.
No, and I even did a search. There is a whole website called Emojipedia.
Emojipedia.
Emojipedia, if you want to see all the official emojis and what they mean, that's a good place to go. But there's also on Hangouts this thing here. I don't know what they call these, stickers. And
yeah,
and they're bigger. Number one, they're bigger. Number two, they go instantly. So call me, and it's put it in and sent the message. And I do use those more often. They're like quick messages, not just little pictures. All right, those were my 6 grab bag tips.
Great. Well, okay. We invite you to like us on Facebook. It's a way that we know things are happening. It's very nice. It's time for my app of the week. Wow. Okay. The app of the week is Google Home. Now, the Google Home app, available on Google Play and the App Store, is the app that you use to set up, manage, and control your Chromecast audio, and the Google Home devices. With a Chromecast, now we use a Chromecast on a couple of our TVs, so multiple Chromecasts can be in there. A regular Chromecast costs $35, but you can also get the deluxe version. but you can browse content on your Chromecast-enabled apps. You can use it to find content. You can play, pause, and change your volume across all your Chromecast devices. So if you have multiple Bluetooth speakers with this Chromecast audio plugged into it, you can have the same music playing through all of your house. It's kind of nice. And what we do a lot is I set up the Chromecast to show our Google Photos on the big screen.
I love that.
And
I love that.
It is just so cool.
Talk about a screensaver that catches your attention.
And I'm just so amazed at how clear and beautiful those pictures are.
It makes our pictures look like those professional ones.
Yeah. Now there's a new device out there, and it's called the Google Home, and it's a wireless speaker. You may have some experience with the Amazon Echo or one of those. This is Google's competition.
Yeah.
So it does a lot of the same, all of the same things, but it's Google. So it'll control your lights, it'll control your thermostat and your locks and that kind of stuff. Plays beautiful music and connects to your home. I like it. Default music providers, sync compatible devices, smart lights, thermostats, Chromecast devices, and you can ask it questions. And guess what it listens to? You want to Google search, and that is a cool deal. So
now you don't have to have the device in order to use the app, right?
No, you don't need the device. Now you want something, probably a Chromecast. That's the least expensive. So that's what I use.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And it is, I have the app on iPhone as well as the Android.
So we can put whatever music we want or show whatever pictures we want, and it'll work.
It is wonderful to see your pictures on your big screen TV.
And you choose which albums and which pictures or photos that you want to show. And it'll
it doesn't just show all of them.
Right. That's a good thing. All right. Well, I'm tired. I worked hard today. Did you learn something? I know I did. Don't do this. The best technique to keep your email account safe and secure is to turn on what?
Two-step verification.
Very important. The volume button on your phone can double as what?
Camera shutter button.
Good.
And that's on the phone or on your on earbuds.
Oh, okay. You can buy a Bluetooth shutter button too.
Oh, also, and the selfie sticks.
Oh yeah,
have a little shutter button on them.
Some of those do. Yeah. All right. To find the username for your Apple ID, go to Settings, then A, B, or C.
C, the iTunes and App Store.
To find the username for your Google account on Android, you go to your settings and then A, B, or C.
Accounts, A.
Accounts, it makes sense there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To save a photo received by text message, it takes 2 steps. The first step is what?
The first step is to get the photo to be full screen, the only thing on the screen. And then the second step totally varies depending on what your messaging app is. So that's what, there is an option to save to your device. You just have to find it.
Okay. An emoji is
a small picture.
And if a saved photo does not show up in Google Photos, check your settings under A, B, or C.
B, device folders.
Okay. All right, Chris, what is the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is Weekly Show.
And the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters?
geeksontour.com, the menu is Blogs and News.
Okay. And benefits for being a member?
The complete learning library of our prepared tutorial videos, which we get to re-record if there's any problems, asking questions, and these show notes. And members get the PDF version of the Google Photos book.
That's great. Well, we do invite you to become a member. That's done at our website. There is a button there that says Become a Member. Join today. Next time, we're going to have another live show on the 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
It's been a few weeks since we did Google Photos.
Google Photos. Chris wrote the book, so we're going to kind of concentrate on that. There's so much, and they keep changing it even since. But we'll post a notification on Wednesday to the Button Show, including the show notes. Watch for the notification. Let us know you're watching. Leave any questions there in the comments. It's so nice to see you guys. And that's our show for this week. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And
keep pushing those buttons.
Don't touch that button, Chris.
You got to keep asking, what does this button do? Even if it makes it crash, you'll learn.
Bye-bye now.